Prophet Marshall Occurrence. So I wanted to make part 2 on guerrilla warfare. I wanted to make this very clear. I went out my way to make this very clear. I really wanted to just put more emphasis on that because this is what this really is. This is guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is, and even after I did the part 1, I went back and just breezed over what it is by definition. Guerrilla warfare deals with the community, recruiting the community to the cause of defeating a particular person or community. It heavily involves using the community. When you go look up guerrilla warfare for yourself, guerrilla warfare now, you will see that it heavily involves the community. The people that's doing guerrilla warfare uses the community. They influence the community to their cause. They utilize, the best way to put it is, they utilize the community. They utilize the community to their cause. And that's what gang stalking, that's the one-on-ones of gang stalking and what it's all about. They tried to turn the community against us. I mean, when you go look up guerrilla warfare, you're going to be convinced. You're going to be absolutely convinced that, yeah, this is guerrilla warfare. That's what this is. This is what I've been going through the whole time. They utilized the community. When I say the community, I want you to understand, I'm talking about people that like just went against you. From the grocery stores, the stuff that could just make people kill themselves. You go into a grocery store and you realize these people are in my politics. You use your street intuition, you know that these people are in your politics without a shadow of a doubt. You realize it. Look at how that could affect you as a person. Look at how that could affect you. So it's like, what is that? Some people say, oh, that's gang stalking. They recruit people to their cause. You know, and that's just what it is. No, it's a name for it, bro. That's why, see, me, just like a lawyer, I'm very key on definitions and terms, because definitions and terms is the difference between being able to prosecute somebody or they can walk away scot-free because you wasn't able to define what it was. If you can't define what it is, you ain't gonna be able to convince the masses. You ain't gonna be able to convince the community, because you yourself also have to come in like I'm doing behind these people and influence the people against them. That's why, see, you gotta have somebody like the prophet, glory to God, in this situation, because you need somebody that can come in and define this and reverse the influence that these gang stalkers have had on the community through guerrilla warfare. How you gonna turn it around? You have to have a prophetic mouthpiece. Hallelujah. that can come in and say what this actually is and define what this actually is. This is guerrilla warfare, bro. That's what it is. And, you know, we're not going to go by some little street punk's idea of what he was doing. His idea is, oh, I was just playing. I was just playing around. Well, you're in the real world, buddy. You're in the real world. Talking about you playing around. You're in the real world talking about playing around. So see, you show them, hey, look, bro. Well, I'm not playing around. No different than you show a street punk when he goes to court. Hey, look, we're not playing around, buddy. This is what you were doing. That's just how the prosecution talked to you. Hey, yeah, well, you know, you say you was playing around. Well, hey, we're not. This is what you were doing, and we take it seriously. This is what you got to tell the gang stalkers. This is what you were doing, and we take it seriously. You said you was playing around or whatever, you seen potential in us, or they'll flip it around like they was doing something for your good. Can't make this up, bro. Can't make this up. Like they was doing something for your good. Okay. But you could have killed yourself. In the confusion of all of that, you seen all these people against you, and you a normal person, and you ain't built for war, and you not. See, a lot of people that they gang stalking is not built for this stuff, bro. It's God that's keeping us. It's God that's keeping them. Now, some people probably did kill themselves because if you go to Wendy's and you see gang stalkers, what are you gonna think? Like, this is some crazy great conspiracy. Like, how they got the people at Wendy's? How they got the people at the grocery store? I go from Wendy's to the grocery store. How in the world they got all these people together like that? Is what's gonna boggle the mind. That's what's gonna boggle the mind. How do they got all these people together like that, bro? How did they got them all together? Explain that intelligently. You can't explain it intelligently except for defining it as guerrilla warfare. It's guerrilla warfare, bro. And so they got a whole network. See, the prophet is going to come in with the prophetic mouthpiece and define it properly for everyone. With no games being played. With no games attached. With no games attached, man. With no games included. You know how they say the batteries included in the toys? With no batteries included, buddy. I'm going to define this with no batteries included. With no games included. Okay? Ain't nobody playing no games. They came and played around us. And we could have killed ourselves. Listen. Even though you may have never thought about that day in your life, you still gotta state the possibility in the courts of the people, so to speak. You still gotta articulate the possibility that could have happened. We could have killed ourselves so that people can see the hazard of what they were doing, the seriousness of what they was doing. All these people against you, you could have just gave up. Even though you know that God will keep you. He'll keep your soul. Hallelujah. He'll keep your mind. He'll keep you from catching a charge as well. But you could have gave up though. You could have caught a charge. You could be somewhere in prison right now for catching a body, bro. That too. Not just something happened to you or you killed yourself. You also catching a body. Because one thing the gang stalkers fail to realize is, man, that everybody got a breaking point or a snapping point. Like I like to say, it's the difference between snapping and breaking. Real ones on the streets don't break, they snap. Right? And they still intact. They ain't, falling all apart, but they snapped, right? We could have snapped and caught a body. And that's even women. Women could have snapped and caught a body out here. Because you had enough of the gang stalking, you had enough of the games, you had enough of people following you in public. That's guerrilla warfare, bro. And that's how you articulate it in the courts of the community. That's guerrilla warfare. I could have snapped and killed somebody. That's right. That's how it needs to be said and articulated. The possibilities. Because you're only human. You can't say what the possibilities could be. Or let's just say what possibilities you would have fulfilled. You can't say that. All you know is God kept you and you made it. Glory to his name. All credit belongs to God. But you could have not made it. And that's what you need to articulate to the courts of the world. Based on what happened to me, I could have been another statistic out here. You know what I'm saying? Where I done caught a body. Or I killed myself. Well, don't say that. Well, it could have happened though. And that's real. That's real though. That's real. And so that people can see the hazard of the actions of these people that think it's a game, these clowns out here. These homosexual clowns. These lesbian clowns that think it's a game. You could have killed yourself. Ain't nothing, listen, man, life is real, bro. Like I tell people all the time. Life is real. Life is real. If you take life as a joke, that's probably because you a joke. If you take life as a game, that's probably because you somebody else's game. You used to be in a game. You're game, as in being hunted. You treat life like how you feel, how you are. If that makes sense. Man, it's people that done got killed for less, man. I'm serious. It's people that done got killed for less than gang stalking and playing with somebody's life. While these people that are in guerrilla warfare against us, they don't realize, man, some people done got killed for less than what you doing. While you sitting up there like nothing can't happen to you. Because, see, they think you are like them in a certain way, like you ain't going to do nothing. And if you do, you going to jail. Well, some people don't care about that. You ever thought about that? Some people don't care. Well, you're going to jail if you do something. Well, maybe I don't care. Maybe I don't care right now, and that's not going to work to your favor by stating that. Well, not to keep you alive. Everybody got a breaking point, man, and everybody, listen, man, life is so real out here right now. Life is so real, bruh, that it's a million reasons why somebody could kill somebody, bro. It's not just what you're doing. It's that life is already hard enough on its own, bro. That's one thing a ghetto survivor keeps in their mind. Life is already hard enough to be out here causing problems and playing games. Life is already hard enough on every person out here. You know, and then add the gang stalking and people thinking it's a game and running around here, bruh. You can't be from the streets, because somebody from the streets is gonna respect how hard life is already, bro. It's already hard. I can tell you, I can show you parts of everybody's life where they could have gave up, where they could just not care about you because of what they already going through, and just decide to just take your life because they already going through enough. They already lost their child, or they lost their wife or their husband. They lost a place to live and things like that, bro. And you could take it for granted that this person ain't doing nothing to you while you gang stalking. And man, this person got a handful of reasons of why they could take your life. You know, you gotta be like, see, that's why these people, you gotta be conscious of that. I don't really care what they're conscious of if you understand where I'm coming from, but you know what I'm saying. We gotta be conscious of ourselves so we don't snap. You know what I'm saying? Because man, you could look at your life and look at like, okay, look at all the stuff I've been through, man. I done lost my child. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen my child grow up. You know what I'm saying? I done lost apartments. You know what I'm saying? I done lost jobs. And that probably was witchcraft that they using. You know, I done been alienated from family. You know, this is the things that happen with gang stalking. You know, I feel alone as a result. Of being gang stalked. And people could just snap, bruh, and just take somebody, bruh. You know what I'm saying? It's hard enough already, man. In 2026, man, like, look at my situation. I'm out here in these streets, bro. It's already hard enough, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, imagine somebody come on top of me and I'm already in the streets. Literally. You know what I'm saying? I don't even got everything I need, but I'm humble though. You know what I'm saying? I submit myself to this position, to this situation. You know what I mean? Without murmuring and complaining. You know, that's the difference between God's people and everybody else. You know, I'm gonna go through this the proper way. I'm not gonna be depressed. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna meditate on negativity in this situation. But just imagine somebody coming along not realizing how fragile you really are. Not realizing how fragile your emotions can be. Better to say, not realizing how fragile you can be. You could be. You're only human. A goofy person is not connected to their humanity. I'm just being real. These goofy gang stalkers, bruh, is not connected to their humanity. We got sense of humor, right? But they goofy. Goofy, in my definition, is an attempt to be funny, but they're not. See, they think they're funny, but it's an attempt, and nobody don't find it funny, so it's goofy. They're goofy. Playing around us. I mean, nobody's laughing, bro. It's like, man, you know, Trump is in office, all this crazy stuff going on, man. And then you got people around here thinking it's cool to be gang stalking and playing guerrilla warfare games with their children. Using children, man. That's what I'm looking at. Using children on top of that. Playing on our humility towards children. Knowing you ain't gonna do nothing. as the normal, average, everyday person, knowing you ain't gonna do nothing to the children, but playing on our humility towards children, playing on the fact that we're handicapped towards children. Well, we ain't gonna do nothing. Playing on that and using children, because it's no secret. In this guerrilla warfare, they using children. In this guerrilla warfare, they using old women. In this guerrilla warfare, they using old men, disgusting stuff. Using people in wheelchairs to see if they turn you on. Trying to use young children to see if they turn you on sexually. Using these old women and trying to see, bent over to see if you lust after an old woman. I'm being transparent and showing you what they doing, bro. And I mean, you're only human at the end of the day, man. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be transparent once again. You know, I have lashed out. I have lashed out in public. You know what I'm saying? I have lashed out and turned up on the whole grocery store. Told them, anybody want to come out here? You know, they want to fight. Anybody want to, anybody act like they got a problem, man? We can come outside with this. Mind you, I'm a person that believe in carrying weapons for my protection. So I'm never really slipping, even when I talk like that. I'm carrying something for my protection. People take it for granted, bro. I mean, this is the response to all of that foolishness, man. This is how the streets gonna talk. This how real ones gonna talk. This how God's people should be talking. People take things for granted, bro. Because once you gone, you gone. Once you go and burn in that fire, buddy, it's over. You don't get to try that out and see how you like it and come back and tell us how you liked it or didn't like it. Once you go off in that lake, buddy, it's over. You ain't coming back. You ain't coming back if you wind up in the lake of fire, buddy. That's how I live my life, man. That's the only thing you should fear is God and being put in that fire, buddy. Because once you die, if you die and you get in that fire, it's over. It's over, buddy. Right now, while you on earth, you have time to change your wicked ways. But once you die, that's what every real spiritual person fears. Dying without God, buddy. Dying in sin. And then you go to hell. It's over. You ain't getting out of there. That's how I live my life, man. Very conscious of that. Very conscious. Ever repenting. Constantly repenting. To have a clean heart, and a clean mind, and a clean soul. Because if you wind up dying with an unrepentant heart, it's over. There's a lot of people, man, that were God's people, and they got out there in the moment. Got out there in the flesh and wind up losing. That's why we gotta, more than ever, even though we realize that they gang stalking in this guerrilla warfare, we gotta make sure we don't get off in no situation where we lose our salvation and we leave here without God. You know what I'm saying? See, we gotta be ever careful that we don't get caught up in those situations, man. That's why now going into 2026, you can see that they're ready to lash out. Back to lashing out. They ready to lash out. They ready to start some problems because they frustrated. Now they know that even this guerrilla warfare did not work. Now they're on the brink of destruction and disaster, and they're looking for somebody to blame. And for high-ranking people, they want to blame us, and we sitting back going through all of this. But because we won, they hate us. They hate us because we won. They hate me because I won. But at the end of the day, you played with me. Let's not forget that. You played with me and lost and played yourself, right? And I just sat back the whole time and you did what you did. But they hate you because you won. And they cause all kind of liabilities and frustrations in the community. And now people want these gang stalkers dead. It's no secret. The streets want these people dead. You know what I'm saying? Because they realize and see it for what it is. They caused all these problems, including COVID-19. That was a spiritual repercussion from all the gang stalking and guerrilla warfare that was going on over here in America. It's no secret, man. I'm telling you this as a prophet. I don't make up stuff to fit my narrative. Unlike these other people, these Americans around us, I don't say stuff to fit some type of narrative that I want people to believe about somebody or whatever, or a group of people. So when I tell you something, man, it's not ever haphazardly, ever. These people caused COVID-19. I'm telling you as a prophet of God, they did. The gang stalking, the guerrilla warfare was a catalyst. Look up the word catalyst. It was a catalyst for COVID-19. Now, was it the only catalyst? I can't say for sure. I can't say for sure. But because I can count more than one, another catalyst. But it was one of the catalysts. It was one of the catalysts that caused COVID-19, the gang stalking, to back these people off of God's people, to get these people away from us. And a politician ain't gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that as a man of God. They caused COVID-19, bruh. They was a catalyst for it. All this gang stalking was a catalyst for that. Okay? And see, now the streets is realizing, oh wow, man, these people caused all these problems. Even COVID, man, it's unforgivable. They kept going and playing with God's people. Now we see who the prophet is, and now we go back in time and realize he was the same person, and God wasn't having it. Now we look back and see all the stuff that was done to him and realize there was repercussions that we didn't realize for playing with this man. They put a disease in my body on purpose, and as a result, that was another catalyst for why this community got COVID-19. You can't play with people like that, bro. See, I've been through that type of guerrilla warfare where they put a disease in my body on purpose. On purpose. And then 3 months later, after I was diagnosed, COVID-19 came. Okay? So, putting a disease in the prophet's body and gang stalking God's people all around the country, those were two catalysts that I count that caused COVID-19. You put a disease in the body of a prophet, okay. Now you got COVID-19. 3 months later, that's no coincidence. So when you see the streets, see all that these people cause, the things I just said, it's no mercy, bruh. It's no mercy. But at the end of the day, man, you know, I know what the reality is. Unlike these same people that's gang stalking, I know how the streets really move, because they thought they was gonna be able to put the streets on us, and it didn't work. They watched stuff on TV. They thought they was gonna come out here and call us pedophiles, and the streets were just gonna jump us like rabid wolves or something. They thought that's what, like rabid wolves. They thought we was gonna be jumped by the community like rabid wolves, and that's not the real world. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody really trying to lose their freedom. That's why they still alive, because all the stuff they done, and now people realize it. The only reason they really alive, man, because, man, you know, most felons sitting around in flip-flops going back and forth in the living room like they want to do something, but at the end of the day, man, you ain't trying to lose your freedom, especially if you got a woman. If you got a woman, you ain't trying to be in jail, and especially if you just met your woman, like in the past 3 years, man. That's the best time. You ain't trying to go to jail. You ain't trying to even get arrested for nothing. So a lot of dudes that's really capable of murder and manslaughter and killing people, they ain't trying to really go to jail, you know what I'm saying, behind this, man, you know what I'm saying. But then, you know what happens is, you got other kinds of people that look at the fact that the whole community has changed because of this, you know, and you know, they don't look at the fact that they gotta go to jail for doing something to these folks. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's just a matter of time. Like once it's anarchy, if anarchy come, they gonna start killing them people. Oh yeah. For all the people that was in guerrilla warfare, they can see, put a face to the guerrilla warfare. Them type of people that they know was in guerrilla warfare, they gonna kill them people, man. If the law ends in this country and there's no more police, there's no more law, and there's a lawless society, the first that's gonna be killed is the gang stalkers. They think they're gonna be riding around having fun. No, you're gonna be riding around running from fun. You're gonna be running from fun, buddy. You're gonna be running from some fun. You're gonna be running from some fun, buddy. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. These little goofy little bastards deserve their destruction. You can't come out here into the community, man, playing around people and playing in people's face. This is gang stalking. And this is guerrilla warfare. We go to the UN, we go to all these people and let them know we have been through guerrilla warfare. So we dead the whole term gang stalking when we talking to people about what's going on. You now, as an intelligent spiritual person, you tell them you have been subject to guerrilla warfare. You do not let these people get away with that weak title of we're just merely gang stalking people. That's all we're doing. We're just gang stalking people. Nah, that's guerrilla warfare. When they start using the whole community against you, when they start using these restaurants and all that stuff, come on, man, come on now. For those of you who have street wisdom, for those of you who have been through the streets, maybe you got robbed in your life, you done real crimes and felonies. Your intuition don't tell you that they using the people at these restaurants. Your intuition don't tell you they using the cashiers at the grocery store. Your intuition don't tell you they using people at these department stores. Your intuition don't tell you they using children against you to try to get a rise and see if they can turn you on with children. Your intuition don't tell you that, and you've been through the streets. That's why everybody that been through the streets that's being subject to this guerrilla warfare, you know what's going on. You know you're going through something that's abnormal. You know that these people are following you around and playing with you and playing in your face, right? You are subject to guerrilla warfare. This is what this is. When they start using the restaurants against you, the department stores against you, that is no laughing matter. Somebody else could kill themselves in that situation. Somebody else could snap under pressure. That's what you got to look at. This is how you talk to the rest of the community. We could have died in that situation. keep in mind, they went to the community and told them you was a pedophile or a weirdo or something like that. They was going to the community to tell the community could have done something to you. Look at that. The community could have done something to you. They wanted the community to do something to you, and that's what you got to look at, man. In this guerrilla warfare in America, man, with God's people being gang stalked through with as we label it as guerrilla warfare for sure. They could have killed you, bruh. They could have said, we believe these lies. We think this person is a weirdo. Woo, woo, woo. And we gonna kill this person. They wanted people to kill you. And for that reason, bruh, I don't have any compassion to give in this situation. Even as a man of God, I don't have any compassion to give, no. It comes a point in time where there's a thin line between compassion to give and justice. People getting what they deserve, man. Something gotta give, bro. Something gotta give. Something has to give. It's just what it is, bro. This is life. This is real life, man. You know what I'm saying? This is guerrilla warfare when they using restaurants and old women and these children against you all out in public, and they training the children like it's a video game. Go run down the aisle and come around this aisle and go down here. That's what they doing. You ain't picked up on that? Your intuition ain't told you that? That the children are aware of them being used in guerrilla warfare, and they think it's and the kids are treating it like it's a video game. That's how the children are treating it. Running around, run down here and go around here and go around there. They using the children against you. It's heartbreaking. Most people that have been through this guerrilla warfare where they use children against you, you broke down and cried probably the first couple times when you realized they was using children against you. And then you grew a backbone and you ain't never looked back. They've been using children against us for years. Years. I'm talking about over 10 plus years, bro. And that's guerrilla warfare. That's not, we ain't talking about no little trivialized term to trivialize this, because if you really look at it, man, gang stalking kind of trivializes the reality of this. It trivializes it. When you call it guerrilla warfare, you can take this to the UN, you can take this to the international community and complain against the Americans for putting you under guerrilla warfare in your community as a civilian. You're a civilian. This is what the international community is going to consider. You are a civilian that could break under pressure. You're not a soldier. Many of you are not soldiers, right? But God kept you. God kept you. You could have broke. What I want you to look at is the possibility of what could have happened. That's a lawsuit. A lot of times is based on what could have happened. Even though it didn't happen, people still get sued in courts all the time for what could have happened in this situation. The stuff that they expose people to, that something bad could have happened, and you get lawsuits because of that. You get lawsuits for emotional distress. It's not a game. Guerrilla warfare brings emotional distress to people. Those are charges in the real world we live in. All the emotional distress you've received from gang stalking, look at it. From the guerrilla warfare, look at it. Man, look, man. Let me tell you something. God did not make us ignorant to the devil's devices. And to where we can't articulate ourselves intelligently, and we go along with people trivializing what they doing like it don't mean nothing. This is guerrilla warfare, man, and it's a payday. It's a payday, but ain't nobody willing to pay. So how they gonna pay all the people that they put under guerrilla warfare? They ain't gonna be able to do it. So basically, man, this is the end. This is the end of this society. I don't know about nowhere else, but here, it's so much guerrilla warfare that has happened, where they've been using the whole community against people. It's a point of no return unless they pay us all, and they ain't gonna pay all of us. They ain't gonna pay every person they put under guerrilla warfare. If you are a high target of guerrilla warfare, they gang stalked you and your family. They put your family under guerrilla warfare, which means when your family went, that means in your mother, your father, your kid, in your even some of your older kids. If you're up in age and you got kids in their 20s and 30s, they put them under guerrilla warfare too. They can't pay everybody back. So basically, this is the end. Cause they can't pay us back. They can't pay back every person they put under guerrilla warfare. They can't do that. They'll be just picking and choosing at this point. Do you realize that? Even though we feel like we should get a payday, when you really look at it, man, look at all the Christians that they put under guerrilla warfare in America. Look at all the Christians complaining about gang stalking on YouTube. Look at all the videos that the Christians are making about being under monitoring spirits and all that kind of stuff. Those are all people under guerrilla warfare, if you have not noticed. Anybody that's a Christian that's complaining about monitoring spirits, witches and warlock communities, people following them around, people playing games and people playing games in public and all kind of games, psychological games, that's all guerrilla warfare. They can't pay all of us back. They can't financially pay all of us, and they have no intentions of doing so. So then what? Then we are smart, aware of our surroundings, and we're not going to sit up and just wait for something that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're not going to pay everybody. So then we're going to take the next step, which is we're not waiting for some payout that they're not going to give and buy them more time. You know what I'm saying? We going to realize they're not going to pay nobody, and we're going to take the next step, which means now judgment has to come in the form of justice for being subject to all this guerrilla warfare. See, they probably also thought that they did it to so many people and everything. God ain't go. How God gonna do something about all of it? And see, that's why the system is being shut down. I truly believe that the system of America is gonna be shut down partially because of all the guerrilla warfare. All this guerrilla warfare is going to cause the community to be shut down as a result, man. That's part of it. They shouldn't have gang stalked us, man. They shouldn't have put us under guerrilla warfare. So the system is in trouble. It's under threat, because when you look at all these people, how all of these people going to get prosecuted, so to speak, for what they've done? How are we going to get all of them? How we gonna make all of these people pay, every single last one of them? How we gonna make, because they all deserve to suffer. Not half of them, not 60%. So how we gonna get all the people that put us under guerrilla warfare? The system has to be shut down to affect the masses, and therefore to affect these people. You see how far it has to go. So you have to really, really, really stand up and have courage and be willing to go through whatever we have to go through for these people to receive their proper judgment, which means we even have to suffer a little bit. We're gonna have to, bro. In order for them to get what they deserve, you don't think we gonna have to suffer in this situation? We're gonna have to, in order for them to get what they gotta get. This is how dedicated, listen, this is how dedicated you gotta be to this cause of these people getting what they deserve, that you're willing to suffer a little bit for them to get what they deserve. You gotta be like this. Ain't nobody gonna come out of this, including us, unscathed, where we don't see where we're affected because of this guerrilla warfare. But we gotta be all down for the cause, that even we gonna go through a little something. We willing to go through a little something, in order for them to get what they deserve. That's how dedicated we gotta be. That's how dedicated we gotta be, man. You know, we can't think that stuff is gonna happen to them and all the whole country, and then we ain't gonna have no repercussions, some discomforts. We're gonna have some discomforts possibly. But the bottom line is we gotta be willing to go that far for them to get what they deserve. You can't just think it's gonna rain on them and rain on the community and then we ain't gonna get wet a little bit. We gotta be willing to get wet, so to speak, in order to get them. That's how dedicated we gotta be, man. And most people are already like that. A lot of people, the Americans, are already saying we just rather die than to let these gang stalkers, these people that did this, we just rather die than let them get away with this. That's how people talking. They're willing to go ahead and just die. They're willing to go ahead and just let the world go. Now you would think most people, especially like me, people will think that the rest of the world is America gonna just want to live for their kids and everything like that. People ain't even talking like that no more. People talking like, man, let's just let it end. Let's just let the world end. See, that's what happened. This done went so far, man. People ain't even think about the kids. They ain't even regarding about the kids because, truthfully, man, they use children so badly against us that people ain't thinking about children, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, because they gang stalked us with children so bad that people starting to despise their children in this country. Not all children, but these people's children, these Americans, because they misuse children against us. And you won't think it will come to that point for a human being, but once again, you're human. You go through this for years and years with people using children in public for a certain particular community, the American community. You're going to despise their children. Eventually, man. Their children are going to become the enemy because they weaponize the children against us. You understand, right? They weaponize the children against us. And any weapon is subject to destruction. If you look in the Bible, the prophet Elijah cursed 42 children. He cursed the children and 42 of them died. He cursed children and 42 of them died. So, you know, people can't just use children to an extreme and think nothing is going to happen and think we ain't going to do nothing. Because like I said, I could show you right in the Bible where God's prophet cursed children. Now, if you don't agree with that, that's you. But I'm going with the word of God, which means there's room where in God's economy, in God's kingdom, where it's no more games with anybody. It could be certain situations where it's no games with children. And if these children are being trained against us, man, come on, bro. You see the situation they put us in. Come on. They're using children against us, man. That's facts. The children know what they're doing. Not to mention even the teenagers. I ain't even mention that. I'm talking about kids younger than the teenagers. They utilizing these children against us, bro. I want you to realize that. And God is going to do something about it. So most people that's been done like that, they don't have regards for these people's children, bro. I'm just giving you the whole full reality of the situation. Because they thought they could just use children and we'll just bow down and ain't nobody gonna do nothing and we ain't gonna say nothing and ain't nothing gonna happen and all of that and just whatever. People are human, bro. And like I said, I could show you in the Bible where God's people curse children. So you can't, with that being said, this is what needs to be said. You can't take things to the extreme with these children and think nothing ain't gonna happen to them. Because I can show you in the Bible where God's people curse children. So then you can't go to the extreme of thinking you could just do whatever you want to do with children. See, that's a goofy American. You could just do whatever you want to do with children and ain't nothing gonna happen. A goofy American would think that. Oh, we could just do what we want to do. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to the children. And they'll even think ain't nothing gonna happen to the children. But then I could take you to the Bible where God allowed children to be cursed, whether you like it or not, whether it fits your fancy or not, or whether it fits your type of Christianity or not. This is the reality. That there are certain spiritual rules and regulations where children can't even play with God's prophet, buddy. Not even children. And what I base that on is the Bible, the prophet Elijah. Where you might have would have said, well, I let that go. Well, the prophet Elijah didn't let it go. He cursed the children and they died. 42 of them died. Okay, so then, see, if I did something like that, oh, you'll say, oh, that's a witch. That's a crazy man. He cursed the children. Well, the prophet Elijah cursed the children. You see what I'm saying? How some people don't follow the full, real spirituality of Christianity and having a relationship with God. Listen, the prophet Elijah cursed the children and they died. If I did that today, you would say, I'm a witch. I'm a punk. I should have just walked away from that. Well, the prophet Elijah didn't walk away from the children playing with him and playing in his face. He didn't walk away from that. And God honored the curse that he put out. And that's what you got to accept. See, some people can't follow God all the way. You can follow the good part and all of this what seems good. I'm going to put it like that. But when it's things that question your morality as a human being, like things like that, where children were cursed and the prophet Elisha cursed children, now you can't use your discernment to say, well, that's how it is. Some people can't go to that level of Christianity, man. Did you hear what I said? Where you're like the prophet Elijah and children ain't even gonna play in your face. Children are not gonna play in my face. So if you using your children against me and gang stalking, buddy, and you a little goofy little bean eating American, and you think you could just do what you want to do with these children, listen, buddy, you gonna find out the hard way, buddy. Ain't nobody playing no games, even with children. Okay, are we out to just fight children and stuff like that? No, but at the same time, man, this is God's kingdom, which is above all creatures. And I don't think people understand that. That you think about religion. I'm talking about a kingdom, a spiritual kingdom, a real kingdom. God is not going to allow nobody to play with us. God ain't gonna. He's not going to allow anybody to play in our face, and that's just what it is. That's just how it is, bro. And it don't matter if it's. It don't matter if it's Americans, the police. It don't matter who it is. It can be whoever it is. It could be whoever it is, man. God is not letting his people be played with. Okay? So, if you're one of them goofy people that think you can just use children and bounce around and bounce and use children, you're going to find out the hard way. You're going to be the first one in line to find out the hard way. God doesn't care to the point where his people are being just done any old kind of way to the extreme. God ain't gonna care to that point about you and your children, and you going to extremes of guerrilla warfare, and God just gonna care for you and your children. Is what I'm trying to say. No, bro. Nah. You know what I'm saying? You gotta check yourself. Am I being goofy? You know what I'm saying? Where I'm just out here, when children die every day, and I'm just taking that for granted, and I'm just out here using children any kind of way, and psychological games, and all kind of putting images in people's mind, telepaths and wizards putting images in people's mind of children, right? Listen, buddy, you don't think that's gonna catch up to you in the subject matter, which is children? You don't think that's gonna catch up to you? Listen, buddy. You don't know God. The very thing you keep using against God's people can be taken away from you. The very thing you keep trying to trigger on and trigger our mind on with these children, that can be taken from you. just because that's what you're doing. And God know that's what you're doing. And then you wind up losing your children out here as a result. That's what I'm saying. So you can't be goofy out here about no children, bro. You can't be out here goofy about no children. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be in your right mind. You gotta use your right mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I say today, people say keep your head on a swivel. I say keep your brain on a swivel. Keep your brain on a swivel, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention. They using these children against us. They using and they think ain't nothing gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? That's a goofy type of person. I don't put me personally let me explain this. When it comes to gang stalking, using children, I feel like they pimping out their children. You using your children and putting your children in harm's way to catch some kind of person you think is a pedophile? You using your own children. I would never go that far to put my children in harm's way to catch a suspected pedophile. I don't care that much. You using children and don't even, any kind of way where you like pimping them out for money or whatever, just to catch this person. I ain't gonna never put my children in. I would never put children in harm's way. Look at what kind of person that is. And then if somebody lash out against them, then what you gonna say? If somebody lash out against them in public, then what you gonna say? You're gonna have a lifetime of regret for using children in guerrilla warfare against God's people. Then you're gonna be mad forever. Then you're gonna wanna die forever. Because you chose to use children against good people just to see what was gonna happen. I would never personally use children and then don't expect nothing to happen to them. Using children against people and then don't think nothing gonna happen. That's what type of people these people are. Like, children are invincible. Children are not invincible people. Children get to die all the time. Every day. Okay, so with that being said, man, you have to be humble, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to be humble out here where you ain't using children against people and just thinking ain't nothing going to happen. You see what I'm saying? You can't be out here moving like that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just people that, man, like, that's just a goofy type of spirit, bro. You would never see me sit out here and use children against somebody's mind and use children against somebody's thought process and try to trigger on their mind using children. You know what I'm saying? Think about what type of person that is. And they think they're righteous in their cause and they're good in their cause. And you think you're trying to catch somebody and listen, bro, you at the end of the day, you putting that child in harm's way. That's how I look at it. I ain't never gonna put no child in harm's way to try to catch somebody. Look at that what I'm talking about. I ain't going that far, no. I ain't putting my child in harm's way to try to catch you if you a pedophile. Look at that. Look how goofy that is, bro. Y'all have to try to figure it out some other type of way, but we ain't gonna use my child out here to try to catch some suspected pedophile person. No. But see, they think they're very dedicated. No, you're very goofy, bro. Ain't no way in the world I'm using my child in gang stalking, what I call pedophilia entrapment operations, where they trying to entrap you psychologically as a pedophile. That's what they do in public. They trying to make the public watch you and see if they can get a rise out of you and say, see, look at that behavior, look at those thoughts. They'll put a whole bunch of telepaths around your head and say, see, look at them thoughts he just had of those children. That's what they doing. They put mind readers around you in public while using guerrilla warfare, using children and creating a court around you like you fighting a child. Trying to see if you have one bad thought towards that child that's sexual. And then they're going to say, well, see, that's a pedophile. That's been the guerrilla warfare tactic that they've been doing. They've been putting it in public over and over again, children in front of us, to try to see if they can get a pedophile thought out of us. You got to be aware of that. That's what they doing. They're trying to get a pedophile thought out of you. They're trying to get a pedophile thought out of me, and it ain't gonna happen, buddy, because I like a fully grown woman. That's why. I put children in the proper context. That's also why. And so, it's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna succumb to these type of perspectives. I'm never gonna succumb to thinking about a child sexually. It's ridiculous. But there's repercussions, man. You can't use children. You should be ashamed of yourself to use children as weapons against a person's mind, against a person's spirit. You should be ashamed of yourself, bro. You really should. That you got to use children. You can't fight like a man, like in the real world, like we do. We fight like men. We don't go out. We ain't out here using children. We ain't out here using children against people, playing on people's humility towards children. Everybody got a certain amount of humility towards children that's in their right mind. You're gonna be humble towards children. You know what I'm saying? But they play on that. That's the crazy thing. They play on that. They play on you being humble towards children, and they don't salute that or respect that. They play on it and they use it. They try to use it. So then you gotta walk with your head up, like, bro, like, I'm a humble person, but at the same time, man, I walk like a man and I act like a man. When I know something crazy going on, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna walk bold. I'm gonna come in these stores and I'm gonna walk like a real man. And see, people expect you to bow down. That's what they do. They try to humble the thugs that bring a whole bunch of children around, or to try to humble God's people that try to bring a whole bunch of children around. I'm gonna still walk with my head up, buddy. And see, that's when they hate you, like, because they expect you to bow down, because really they want to see you lowly and bow down before them. So I use these children, and you gonna bow down and be halfway smiling, and I ain't doing none of that. I'm gonna walk with my head up. I'm gonna walk with my shoulders squared, and I'm gonna walk like a man. And if you thinking something out of that, listen, bro. If you thinking something out of that, that's you. That's your own thinking, not mine. If you think I'm doing something out of, and I'm minding my business, and you bringing these children around, you think I'm doing something out of pocket or out of character, listen, bro, I don't play goofy games. I'm all about reality. See, how you beat that, the guerrilla warfare, man, is reality. Reality is you ain't doing nothing to nobody, right? You ain't doing nothing to no children, right? No children nothing's being done to them, right? Okay, so you win. I win. But it is a reality that they bringing children in public and playing with us in public with children. And they don't think we know. They've been doing it the whole time. I'm just man enough to talk about it. What everybody have known the whole time, they've been using children against our minds. It ain't no way in the world you gonna tell me your intuition ain't pick up on that. They've been using children against our minds the whole time. You can tell. So it's like, man, I don't see how somebody could do that and call themselves a good human being. That's not no good human being. Because I ain't going to use children against your mind, because I fight my wars like a man. I ain't got to use children. I ain't got to come out here and use no little babies and all of this kind of stuff, man. It's ridiculous. I ain't got to use no little babies and children and all of this stuff playing around somebody's mind. You know what I'm saying? Knowing us as humanity, we all got a certain humility towards children. More have, some more than others. Some more than others, though. But, we all got a certain amount of humility towards children. And for somebody to play on humanity's humility towards children is just unforgivable, bro. It's unforgivable, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that much testing in the world. They shouldn't have to test you, because reality tells them everything about you. Are you doing something to children? Okay, so why you need to be tested? You done been out here long enough for them to see what you do and you don't do, so why you need to be tested for it? That's foolishness. You done been out here too long for them to need to test you. They done seen you a million times around children, so why they need to test you tomorrow? Why they need to test you tomorrow? Ain't no need to test you tomorrow. That's foolishness, bro. That's why I'm saying that's why God is judging these people, bro. That's using these children, pimping out their children. They pimping out their own children against God's people. And I'm the prophet, a man of God, bold enough to talk about it. Using these children against us and everything like that, weaponizing children and thinking ain't nothing gonna happen. Yeah, man. Listen, man, something is gonna happen. Something is gonna happen. You can't utilize children against good people and think, oh, ain't nothing gonna happen. Nothing ain't gonna happen to us. You know what I'm saying? Because these children, after all, man, listen, man. What should humble you is stuff happen to children all the time. Every day. Ain't no way in the world I'm bringing my children. If I had some, ain't no way in the world I'm bringing my children out here to try to catch some type of pedophile guy or a pedophile woman or gay person that's a pedophile or a transsexual or something or a lesbian that's a pedophile. I don't care. Listen, I'm not going to that extreme as a good person to use children out here against other people. That's not good humanity is what I want to bring home to you. It's not good humanity by any stretch. See, it look good on paper that I'm trying to do something good for children. It look good. But when you think about all that I just said and what it consists of, what they doing, that's not good humanity, bro. Even if you doing it in the name of helping children, even if you're doing it for the sake of helping children, that is not good humanity to put children in harm's way. That's what we all can agree with. Putting children in harm's way, trying to catch somebody? Like, we don't know. I got street intuition, bro. You can't tell me I'm wrong. I know I'm right about this. It ain't my paranoia. See, they want to act like you paranoid. Ain't nothing going on. Oh, ain't nothing going on. And yes, it is. Because I got intuition, street intuition. I know what I'm talking about. Using these children in guerrilla warfare against us in public, man. Yeah. But then they expect you to be humble about it. You know what I'm saying? They expect you to be bowed down when they come around with their children, because that's the only way they can get a grown man bowed down is to use these children. But then when you start standing up, they hate you because you don't regard the kind of you don't regard the attitude that they want you to have. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, you don't have the attitude that they want you to have, where you gonna bow down because they bringing children around, or I'm gonna act a certain way that put me on these lames level. Because they not as bold as you. They don't walk like you. So how I'm going to pull you down? I'm going to try to use children to humble you all down and make you walk around showing your teeth and you really ain't happy. You know what I'm saying? But you trying to humble yourself down because of these children around. See, that's how they want you to be. And you got to tell yourself, hey, man, listen. I'm not a bad person, but I'm not finna. I know this. I know what my hunches is telling me. They doing this on purpose. That's a person that got street intuition, that come from the streets. Listen, man, it's not all about violence. It's also about intuition, street intuition, and street wisdom. Your street is how you know somebody's really from the streets. Your street intuition is gonna tell you when something ain't right. Right or wrong. It ain't all about being a person that's really from the streets. It's not all about shoot 'em up, selling drugs, whatever. It's also it's the foundationally it's about being able to move in the wild with the wild, and you're in unison with it, and you get respect from the wild. You know, and in order to do that, you gotta have intuition and street wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, most of us who really do have a street background to whatever degree, it consists of foundationally having street intuition, street hunches, and street wisdom, and street rules and regulations. So when I see the same pattern over and over again at the beginning of the guerrilla warfare with the children particularly, you know, at first you're gonna be like, okay, you're gonna humble yourself down. Even when there's weird stuff going on with children, like just got these children around you for no reason, like it's just a weird feeling, right? At the beginning, you're gonna still be humble because you still in the normal world, right? This is before the Matrix. And then after a while, you're gonna be like, hold up. My intuition telling me something ain't right about that they doing that on purpose, bro. My intuition telling me they using these children on purpose. And then see, a street dude or somebody with street intuition gonna say, you're gonna have to internalize that for a while. But you already know they doing it on purpose. Your intuition telling you that they intentionally using children against you. Your intuition telling you they doing it on purpose over and over again. But because they're not familiar with having street intuition and street wisdom, they think they can play on you like, oh, you just being paranoid. Like, I ain't gonna know if I'm being paranoid. I know if I'm being paranoid. I know if I'm right, too. I know if my intuition is telling me I'm right. My intuition is telling me. My intuition is telling me, yeah, I'm right about this. Okay, so guess what? How you gonna have, what your attitude gonna be when you know people using children against you? No, I want you to think about that at face value. What you gonna look like? What your face gonna look like? What your face gonna look like when you know they doing something on purpose? What's your face gonna look like when you know they playing games with you on purpose, bro? After a while, you know what after a while is in this situation? If you ain't been in the guerrilla warfare, years. After some years, bro, you're gonna be walking around here like the prophet Elijah, bro. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, you know, because it comes a point in time, bro. Come on now. Everybody love children, but at the end of the day, they human beings like everybody else. So I can't let you drag me through the mud as a grown man for no children. I'm sorry. And that's how you know who's who and who's real, bro. I can't do that. Cause half of this guerrilla warfare is about children, man. That's why it's coming up. That's why I'm talking about it. Because half of what I'm calling guerrilla warfare, at least in my case, is them utilizing and using these children in psychological games, in psychological war games in guerrilla warfare. They using children. Perfect example, when I was in New York, right? They used a little girl next door in guerrilla warfare, coming outside when I was doing videos like this, and in certain times when my spirit is up and I'm in my spirit is in a good place, they'll bring the little girl. They'll bring her in the backyard or in the front yard. I started out in the back of this building, so they would bring her in the backyard, and she would just be screaming at the top of her lungs where it didn't even make sense, even for children. You know how you can listen and you can tell that children are playing, right? This didn't sound like a child playing. This sounded like a child intentionally yelling up to a window, and that's what it was. And they thought I was stupid enough to be able to not understand that. Man, listen, if you stand and you listen to a child screaming, it's gonna make sense because it's gonna be interacting with something. The child gonna be interacting with something to make them scream, right? And then you're gonna wait, and then you're gonna hear more of the interaction, and you're gonna be able to define it as an interaction with something else. This little girl was screaming at nothing, or she had no other interaction with something else, because I can tell how she was screaming. She wasn't screaming at something in her surroundings. She was screaming directly up at a window, bruh. At the window where I was at, like that, bro. And this was like at nighttime, bro. It did not make any sense. I know how kids sound, even if they screaming and playing. You heard me? This did not sound nothing like that. And I'm saying this based on a person that got street intuition. It sounded nothing like that. It sounded like somebody, just as it was, coached them to go out there and scream up at a window. It sounded like her and a little boy at first. Then the little boy went away. And then throughout the months of me being in this place in Brooklyn, they kept using this same little girl next door, directly next door, to come screaming around my window. Then I moved at the front of the building, and all she had to do was go to the front of the building, and she was screaming in front of my window. That's guerrilla warfare, bro. And see, they play on the fact that, okay, if you tell people that, they're going to think you crazy, or they're going to think you being unreasonable. I don't care. I know what I know. You know what I'm saying? I know for sure that that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? And shame on the people that would do that. You know what I'm saying? Shame on the people that would do that, because I'm going to be real with you, man. Like, everybody got they snapping point. You shouldn't be using children, and somebody can lash out and hurt one of the children. Then what you gonna be saying? Then what you gonna be talking about? See, this is how goofy people are, bro, in this community of America, man. I don't use children to win my wars. I don't use children in any form or fashion, in psychological games, in any kind of games, to win in a war. I'm a grown man. I can fight my battles without children, bruh. But our enemies can't. They got to use children to try to make you bow down. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. You know, I'm just keeping 100. If I did have a pedophile thought, I ain't gonna die. I can live with it. I'm just keeping it real. I ain't gonna go to hell because of that. I'm just keeping it 100, my dude. Listen, I'm just beating them I'm just cutting to the chase. I'm just beating them to the buck. I'm just getting to the crust of the problem. Where you think, man, like, I'ma lose my mind if I have a thought of a child. If I did, I ain't gonna stop. If I did, I ain't gonna stop being a Christian. If I did, I ain't gonna stop fighting the spiritual war. And that's what you gotta tell yourself. If I did have a pedophile thought, I ain't gonna stop being a Christian. I ain't gonna stop. I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? That's corny to me. I'm like, I ain't gonna stop nothing, bruh. Nothing ain't gonna stop. And that's how 100 you gotta be, bruh. That's how God wants you to be. If a thought cross your mind of a child, let's be realistic. Do you think God just gonna cast you into hell? Do you think God is ready to throw you into hell if you have a pedophile thought? No, listen, we challenging what they trying to put out there and what they insinuating. Do you think God gonna leave me if I have one pedophile thought in my mind? No, he's not gonna leave me. No, he's not. Okay, so then there you have it, buddy. There you have it. A real reality that destroys your corny operations and your corny reality that you got going against us. I can live with whatever crossed my mind. Listen, I'm just being 100 with you. I can live with it. If I did have a pedophile thought, I could live. I ain't gonna die. I'm looking you right in the face. I'm not gonna die if I had a pedophile thought. If I did think something sexually about children, I'm not gonna die. Okay? Yeah, man, you gotta be like that, man, because that's what they plan on. So then your response is gonna have to be like that. It's gonna have to. See, it's a unique, you see what I'm saying? It's a different situation that we not used to, so it's gonna have a different response. I'm only the one that's real enough to give the right response to this stuff. That this weird stuff that they doing, I'm the one to give the right response. Man, ain't no way in the world I'm gonna die if I have a bad thought about some children. And I ain't doing nothing to the children. And I don't have no intentions of doing that. And you think I'm gonna just lay down and die because I had a bad thought? It's not gonna happen, buddy. It's not gonna happen. Because how I put it, man, ain't nobody's mind perfect anyway. I mean, ain't nobody a pedophile, but at the end of the day, do you got a perfect mind? Nobody does. So that's something that humanity understands. We all understand that about each other. Ain't nobody walking around here with a perfect mind, but, you know, I ain't gonna do nothing to no children. But at the end of the day, do you got a perfect mind? No, you don't. You don't, and I don't. How you think I know that? Because I'm human just like you. Ain't nobody got no perfect mind. So that's another betrayal of humanity for people to play on the flaws of a mind of a human being. For these suckers to play on the mind of a human being, bro. Knowing we ain't perfect. Knowing nobody is perfect. For somebody to play on your mind, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's like an alien. We treat them like aliens, bro, because you don't share the common understanding that we're all human. And I'm not gonna try to point out your imperfections or create an imperfection or try to look and wait for an imperfection. What kind of person is that? That's like an alien, bro. We don't even esteem them as human people that act like that. You know what I'm saying? Who am I to come and try to point out something in your humanity towards children? Look at that. I don't respect nobody that do that. I'm just the right person to keep it 100. Like, I'm not gonna die about no crazy pedophile thoughts, and life gonna go on regardless. And listen, and you know, stuff is gonna happen for these people playing with people and, you know, playing around people with these kids. See, it wouldn't be right. Why this is coming up? Because it wouldn't be right if I left this message without talking about the main thing they're using in guerrilla warfare, which is these children. If you don't know, then you're not going through it like we going through it. They using the children, bro. That's why everybody mad. Because you mad because they using children against your mind, and they made you feel like you had a thought that you didn't want to have. They put you in a situation with children in public, and they bumped up against your head and made you feel like you had a thought that you didn't want to have. Now you want them dead. That's people that's not even Christians. And that's why the streets is against them, because what we going through, they doing it to the streets too. They putting them through it too. Well, they playing around people's mind, because it will work with anybody, because the average human being is going to be humble towards children. That's why it's going to work. It just takes a bugged out person to even use that, man, because they know it's going to work on everybody. Because most people going to be humble. And through that humility, I can play with you. You see what I'm saying? It's not that I'm going to be guilty. You're going to be guilty, but I get to play with you. Because I know you're going to be humble towards children. You feel me? Right. You're gonna be humble towards children, so I can play with you when you humble towards children, at least a little bit, or however far you go with your humility towards children. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta draw a line, man, and God understands that. You know what I'm saying? People keep playing with children, man. You gotta start walking through it like Jesus. You gotta start walking through it. Because while they trying to hold you to a character of loving children and everything, that's not really what the problem is. The problem is you doing stuff on purpose with children and you don't think we know about it. So I'm supposed to walk through that like Jesus. Why you expect me to love? No. Because it's a setup. So God ain't gonna want you to come over here and just hang out with these children that's being used as weapons. And more times than not, God is not going to want you to do that. Come on, man. Think about that. So then with the gang stalking, God begins to move you through these groups of children. And that's why they hate you, because you walking through the children. Man, I just said a mouthful right there. Because it's not normal. It's not normal. It's not a normal situation. So my whole thing is, with my street intuition, why would I act normal in an abnormal situation? When people say, well, you're supposed to just act normal. He's supposed to just act normal. How am I supposed to act normal? And my spidey senses is going off and telling me all this stuff around me is a trap. All this stuff around me is staged. You staged these children in front of me because you knew I was going to come in this restaurant. You put 3 and 4 children in front of me on purpose. And my spidey senses is going off telling me you did this on purpose. So why am I supposed to act normal? See what I'm talking about? See, I'm just keeping it 100, bro. Why am I supposed to act normal? No, I'm gonna have a certain look on my face like I know what's going on. After going through this for X amount of time, I know what's going on, so I ain't finna act normal. See, that's playing on you. That's a Jedi mind trick to accuse you. Oh, he's supposed to be acting normal. Why he acting hostile? These children, because I know you doing it on purpose, that's why. I know the games you playing on purpose. Why you expect me to act like I'm normal in the situation? It's not gonna happen, buddy. That's why I walk through crowds of people like Jesus for that reason, bro. Because I know they doing all this stuff on purpose. But see, they holding you to this corny perspective, like, are you supposed to just be normal and show love through that? Most men are not gonna do that. Many women would. Many women will just go home and cry about all the stuff they doing, but still try to show love toward the children. Most men are not gonna do that. We gonna become more hostile. We gonna become more withdrawn from the public situation, where we don't even acknowledge these people and their children. We just walk through them because we already know what they're doing. That's what a man gonna do. A woman might stand there sometimes and try to still show love, even though she know the children are being used against her. She'll still try to show love. But what I want you to know is, God ain't gonna hold it against you if you walk through these people, bruh. No, he not. He know they doing it on purpose. God ain't gonna hold you to go hang out and everything, and he know they doing that stuff on purpose. See what I'm saying? And see, that's how you shred through the goofiness, bro. That's how you gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's keeping everything in proper perspective. Cause see, once we get past this children's stage, it ain't nothing they got left. What else? What they gonna be doing? What they gonna be talking about you about? That's what I'm saying. Don't you see? It's the last resistance in this war between good and evil in America. It's the last resistance. And then what else is gonna happen after that? See, that's what I'm saying. It's the last resistance. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel bad, bro. I don't feel bad at all. You know what I'm saying? Because you shouldn't be using children out here against nobody. It's just a cruel thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Using children against people out here. And you know everybody's kind of humble towards children. I can't stress that enough. You know what I'm saying? But so imagine approaching somebody, the average human being, and you know they humble towards children, but you playing all these games around them, playing in their face with these children, and you know what I'm saying? You just sitting back watching their reaction. Look at what kind of person that is. You know what I'm saying? We know they doing it on purpose. That's why half the streets is mad, because you feel like they got you. Let's keep it real. But then eventually your resilient nature kicked in, and you realized through the matrix of your mind, I'm not guilty. And that's when you knew you've leveled up. You grew from the situation. Okay, the bottom line is, I don't think no thoughts towards no children. Okay, so then I'm good as far as that go. I ain't thinking nothing sexually towards no children, or thinking nothing towards no children. So whatever it is, it's not that. Whatever it is, it ain't that. And that should be good enough for you as a human being. You know what I'm saying? You gotta accept yourself. You only human, bro. You only human. They playing all these games with you with these children. You only human. You know what I mean? I'm not saying go and let it all hang out and think the crazy stuff about children, but man, you're human, bro. Like, you know you ain't gonna do nothing towards no children. You know you ain't gonna do nothing towards those children sexually or hurt a child. You know, man, come on. You ain't gonna do that. Okay, so then that's the bottom line. That's the reality, and that's what you carry with yourself. Reality. And reality always refocus you. Okay, now I'm refocused because whatever the games they playing, reality is, I don't think nothing about children. I ain't gonna do nothing to these children. That's reality. Simple. You know what I'm saying? Like we all care about children to a certain degree, but we ain't out here bugged out about it. You feel me? I ain't out here bugged out about that. Where I'm out here running around like a vigilante for children. Come on, no, bro. No. And see, they played themselves. Now they look like they ironically, man, you look like the worst threat to children because you came out here playing around talking about children, but now you done put the whole community in danger because of what you did, including children. You put children in danger because now judgment is coming because of the stuff you done. While the rest of us just played it cool. You know what I'm saying? We just live real life. We just lived being a good human being, live and let live. Try to watch out for children if we can. And we wind up being in the winner's position, the number one spot. And these people that came out here for children look like bozos, crazy people. But you was the ones that act like you wanted all the smoke about these children. Now you look crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, that's like, I don't know, man. Like, some people ain't grow up. Some people didn't grow up in life, bro. You know what I'm saying? See, if you ain't got no father, you don't know how to carry yourself out here. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be perfect, but you ain't gonna do nothing to no children. You ain't gonna go out here thinking nothing towards these children. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna do none of that. But you don't need to prove that to nobody either. That's what your daddy would tell you. You don't know. You don't need to. As long as you mind your business, son. As long as you go out here and mind your business. Listen, who is another man to come challenge that? Who is any? I don't care if it's the police. I don't care who it is. Who is anybody to challenge your position when you minding your business? Who is anybody to challenge your position when you're minding your business? That's what you got to look at. You minding your business, who is anybody to challenge your position? It's wacko, bruh. It's corny. Ain't nobody gonna challenge my position. I know I'm minding my business. I ain't doing nothing to nobody. You know, that's how you gotta move. That's how you gotta carry yourself. Where, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm minding my business. I'm not gonna let somebody come out here and challenge my position, and I ain't doing nothing to nobody. See, that's how bad it got. That's how goofy this stuff got, bro. They out here challenging people, and you ain't even doing nothing. But then we can show them people that's doing stuff, all this stuff to children, doing all this crazy stuff to children. That's what I'm looking at. Look at all the crazy stuff people doing to children. You ain't done none of that in your life. And you get treated like a fugitive. Like a black man, I get treated like a fugitive. Like I done something to these children. At the end of the day, I can feel all kind of feelings based on what I've been through. But at the end of the day, I ain't doing nothing to these children. And that's what's got to be understood, bro. That's got to be clear, crystal clear. You know what I'm saying? We got to we it can't be no goofiness going on about that, bro. That's what people tripping out about. That's what people tripping out about. Is that look, I'm minding my business, bro. I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me, bro. What else can I do as a human being? All I can do is do me and try to put my best foot forward. That's all I can do, bro. But who am I to try to see what's on your mind and try to see if I can get a rise and try to tempt you with children, or what kind of person is that? I would never do that to a person. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't doing nothing, like the hood gonna feel like this. If I ain't doing nothing if you ain't doing nothing to these children, bro, who am I to say what's on your mind? This is what gangsters and thugs gonna sit around and talk about. Like, this is what Tupac could be talking about. Man, who am I to say, what's on your mind or everything? Long as I don't see you out here touching these children, long as I don't see you out here playing with these children, long as I don't see you out here doing nothing to these children, bro, that's between you and God. If you got something on your mind towards these children, God gonna judge it anyway. See, if a person that got faith gonna say, well, if he thinking something funny towards children, God gonna judge it in the end anyway. He ain't getting away with it. If he is thinking something crazy towards children, this is what the block gonna say. They got more faith than these other people out here. The block gonna say, if he is thinking something about these children, God gonna get him anyway. He ain't gonna get away with it. So you might think we don't realize or think that high to understand that maybe somebody's thinking about children. No, I put it in God's hands. Because at the end of the day, I can't do nothing about it. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to let God judge that. I'm going to let God judge that person. I'm not going to come out here and play with that person's mind and put them through a million different situations. I know that if he ain't out here touching these children or doing nothing to these children, then whatever's on his mind, God is going to judge that. And that's worse than anything we ever could do to this person. That's worse than anything we ever could do. God judging that person's mind, that's worse than, that's what the block will still be talking like this. That's worse than anything that we could ever do to this person. For God to judge the situation, for God to judge this person's mind. So that's where the real streets is at, man. Just because some people think the streets is stupid. Like, these dudes out here just can't see what we see. Nah, it's not that we can't see what you see. It's that we don't play the position of judging somebody's mind. You know what I'm saying? We as humans, we only judge the tangible world. You follow me? We only judge the manifestations in the tangible world. That's only our only position. God is gonna judge the hearts of men and the minds of men. You know, we ain't the ones to do that. You follow me? We ain't the ones to do that. I'm not the one to do that. All I can do is judge what manifests. If something manifests, I judge that. If something manifests and you a grown man, even as a child, you do something as a child, I'm going to judge you as a child. I'm not going to judge you as like you was a grown man when you did some stuff. You wasn't a grown man, right? Okay, so I'm going to judge you according to who you were. You was a child, right? I'm going to judge you in that situation. If you did something when you was a child, I'm going to judge you as you were a child in that situation. I ain't going to look at it like you was a grown man. Your best excuse was you was a child yourself. Right or wrong? That's the best excuse you can have in the world. Oh, you was a child? That stuff they talking about, you was a child? Okay, that's the best excuse in the world right there, buddy. That's the best excuse in the world. You was a child? Okay, that's the best excuse. That's the best excuse you can have. Absolutely best excuse. Okay, so, but as a grown man now, you know, we judge it differently because men begin to get morals. You become a man, you got morals. Okay, if I had a lover when I was a child and we grew up, that still ain't the same thing. We grew up, we both adults, right? But if I'm an adult and you a child, you know, come on, that's what people judge. But at the end of the day, man, if you ain't doing nothing to these children out here, listen, man, we gotta keep it actual and factual, like I like to say, actual and factual. You ain't doing nothing to these children out here? Listen, who am I to say anything about it, bro? Who am I to take that to another level? You ain't doing nothing to these children, okay, then who am I to take it to the next level? Like, and then they got people out here doing stuff to children. If children are not harmed, and I still see the same children that they say you thinking about, I see those same children unharmed. What am I supposed to do? The children they talking about you thinking about is unharmed over here. Come on, bro. That tells us everything we need to know right there. Think about what I'm saying. The children that they talking about you thinking about now is unharmed over here. Right there, cool, they good. That's the reality of the real world, the tangible world, the material world. We judge things as humans in the material world when children are harmed physically, when something has happened to them. If ain't nothing happening to them, the streets is gonna say we ain't nothing we gonna do nothing about it. Even if they was thinking about it. What I'm gonna do? At best, we might slap one of these dudes out here if we thought he was thinking something crazy. You know, but that's the best we gonna do. We ain't gonna go no further than that. We ain't going no further than that as the streets. And see, now these secret society people and all these people realize it because they try to put the streets on me. The streets gonna say the same thing, buddy. We ain't doing nothing to nobody if he ain't doing nothing physically. If he ain't doing nothing physically, what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Nah. That don't add up in the real world, bro. Because the thing is, it's just too many people out here doing stuff to children. It's too many. So that's what we gonna pay attention to. That's what we gonna focus on. We ain't focusing on nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So this guerrilla warfare, man, that's a big part of it, man. That's why I took time to really break it down, man, because that's the main weapon they wielding around is these children, bro. And if you ain't doing nothing to the children, bro, you win. I'm sorry to tell them, but I'm not sorry to tell them. You can't win. Talking about some children and ain't nobody doing nothing to them. We ain't trying to hear it, bro. We ain't trying to hear it. If somebody, because how I see it, a person could be crazy, don't win crazy. If the blog gonna say, man, all y'all did to that person, he could be crazy. So, like, whatever thoughts he's having, it's probably because he done went crazy. See, it comes to a point where you done so much to a person, they probably crazy now, bro. He probably crazy. You know what I'm saying? He probably crazy now because all the stuff he done, so his mind going haywire. He thinking about a whole bunch of crazy stuff, or he's overly self-conscious. He's self-conscious, right? Where he's not doing anything, but he's making sure he don't do anything. That's normal for a human being to feel that way. Okay, if people challenging my position, even in my thoughts, I'm ever careful that I don't make a mistake. That's not, some people will judge that as guilty. That ain't guilty, that's being self-conscious. That's making sure you don't make a mistake. That's a normal feeling that a normal human being gonna have if you being challenged. If somebody challenging you like you doing something wrong, when you go out in public after that, you gonna walk around making sure you don't do nothing wrong. You're going to be ever careful where somebody else might not be. And then that's where people will incriminate you. But it's obvious, it's understandable because you're being challenged. So that's the reason why you even walk around like that. You walk around like that because you're being challenged. Okay, so then ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You going through it. You going through it, bro. You going through it, and you know that's why you carry yourself like that. But see, somebody else will come beside you and say, "Oh yeah, see, you know, he tripping. He tripping." Nah, this person might be crazy for all we know. All he been through, he might be crazy. Who am I to judge him? He might done went crazy going through all this guerrilla warfare and he ain't even know what it was and all of that stuff. He ain't know, you know what I'm saying? He ain't even know what it was or nothing. Man, you could have lost your... So for me, I'm going to say this person could be crazy. From all that stuff y'all put him through, he could be crazy. So now you can't judge this person. You can't even judge him because he could be crazy right now. You know what I'm saying? He could be crazy. He could have lost his mind from all this stuff. So you can't even get a good read on that person no more. That time is gone. The best time you could have had it was when he was off guard and he didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Now he know what's going on. His mind could be doing a million things. You feel me? His mind could be doing a million things now that he know what's going on. Yeah, so for me, I wouldn't even judge somebody's mind after X amount of time. If he been through this for years and years and years, okay, what kind of person am I to come and judge that person? You follow me? He done been through this for years and years. How am I come and judge that? See what I'm saying? Look at that, bro. Look at that. That's why people had compassion for me, because Look at all this person I've been through, and then you gonna come judge this person about children, man. When everybody's sensitive about that, it's a sensitive subject. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to put their best foot forward and be good towards children. So imagine somebody listening to somebody else, but then they seen you for X amount of time, and they still playing with you. They done tried you to the 10th power. They done tried you to the 10th power, bro. And you still came up good. You know what I'm saying? You still came up decent. And imagine somebody still trying you, bro. That's why God is doing what he's doing, bro. It comes a time, bro, where I don't care what it's about, even children, you can't keep trying people over and over and over and over again. It's not, it's no element of our world is that important, including children. I don't care what people feel. That's how I feel. You can't tear the whole world up for children. So if you find yourself doing something that's tearing up the whole world, children is not worth that. No. You don't tear up the whole world for children, bro. Bro, think about what I'm saying. You can't tear up the whole world because of a random pedophile. You know, I'm not saying I'm one, but that's how they're approaching people. You know, you can't tear up the whole world for a random pedophile. You know, if you don't got the guy, it's over. It's what it is. If you ain't got the courage to do something to him, I'm not saying do that, but then it's over with. You know, that's the bottom line. You know, but when we see you tearing up the world, you know what I'm saying, now you causing liabilities. That's how we look at it. Now you the problem. Even though you might have came out here with good intentions. You know what I'm saying? You know, but now your good is evil spoken of. Now your good is evil spoken of. You know what I'm saying? Because you came out here, you know what I'm saying, to the point where you was spinning your wheels about these children and whatever, and then you came up liable because now you destroying the very environment that they live in. You see what I'm saying? Make that make sense, bro. It don't. You can't come out here tearing up the very environment that they live in, trying to talk about this, trying to catch this one guy. You know what I'm saying? See, that's how you know you off track. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know your mind off track. You know what I'm saying? Because the very thing you set out to protect and preserve, now you destroying it. You see what I'm saying? Now you're destroying the very thing that you came out here trying to preserve and protect and stand for. You know what I'm saying? As far as protecting, you know, now you destroying that, and then you're threatening that. You're the threat against the very thing that you came out here to preserve. So you see, that's how you know who's real. That's how you know who got rules and regulations, who understand rules and regulations. People that understand principles in life, wisdom, you know, intuition, you know what I'm saying, good understanding. You know what I'm saying? Because by now you should be like, especially if you're spiritual, you call yourself spiritual, you already see what's going on in the world. Okay then, why would you keep playing with this person and you know it's causing a possible problem with children that you trying to protect? Make it make sense, bro. I'm showing them they self. I'm showing them their selves. I'm showing them themselves. You know, now it's a lost cause. It's a lost cause. Now you in liability with concerning children because you was a threat to their society, to their reality in society more than us. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we ain't even try to do that. You know what I'm saying? They put themselves in that situation. You know, so that's like, man, you know, that's the difference between being real and fake. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna never be in no position where you can say, where I just kept going and I kept playing with people and it messed up the whole world and it messed up the children and everything. You see what I'm saying? You ain't gonna never find me in no situation like that. Because see, a good hero, if you was a hero for children, we expect you to be the one to bow down. That go for authorities, that go for police, that go for anybody. If you supposed to be loving children so much, we expect you to bow down when you see all this stuff happening. Just like when you see a movie and a child might be held for ransom, right? The police is gonna say, oh, I'm gonna put my gun down. If it's the feds, I'm gonna put my gun down to protect these children. I ain't gonna keep holding my gun and this person might threaten the children. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like in the movies. You'll see a good negotiator that's negotiating with a criminal that's holding a child for ransom. You will see that negotiator and those authorities back off and put the guns down for the children. You will see them bow down to protect what they're there to protect. But when we don't see you do that, it makes us wonder, bro. It makes us wonder. It makes me wonder. Because you the one, as far as between me and you supposed to be the one to bow down. Because you the one came out here like John Wayne for children, right? You came out here like John Wayne. Okay, so then when you see the whole world being threatened by your actions, we expect you to bow down. We expect you to say, okay, I'm gonna put my guns down. I'm gonna put all this gang stalking down. I'm gonna put this guerrilla warfare down. Because now these children are threatened. I'm gonna walk away. That's what we expect you to do. You know what people expect out of me? Nothing. Nothing, buddy. You see how good I got it? What y'all expect out of me? To maintain who I am, pretty much. Pretty much. That's it. I don't got nothing to do. You know, now them on the other hand, you know, you done came out here, played with the community and everything. You owe us an explanation. You owe us an apology. You owe us money. I mean, that's serious. I'm serious. And you supposed to been unbowed down as a community. All these people that love children or whatever, man, listen, man, let me tell you something. For America, all these people that love children, you supposed to been bowed down to protect children. Not keep charging somebody and playing with somebody. You supposed to been unbowed down and bowed out gracefully so you could protect children. You the one on it. I'm not. You the one on it where you all out here for children. Okay, so then you supposed to be the one to bow down. When you see all this stuff happening, when you see all this bad stuff taking place, and you see the children's position is threatened, you supposed to bow down. You don't supposed to fight me harder. That's a corny person. That's a goofy person, bruh. You a goofy person. You don't supposed to fight me harder. That's common sense. That's suicide. You don't supposed to fight me harder because you losing and now all this stuff happening and it's a threat to children. You don't supposed to fight me harder, bruh. So, man, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what all I'm saying, man. That's like, I can't make it something that, no more than what it is. See, in reality, man, it is one thing. It's not what we want it to be. It's not some other stuff that it could be. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that reality is gonna stick out. Y'all came out here playing around talking about children. All of us out here try our best to think pure thoughts towards children, to protect children. That's what human beings know. We all know that. That goes without saying, right? I shouldn't have to explain that to anybody. We all come out here not trying to undress these girls with our eyes or and lust after these children. Ain't nobody going out here like that. So even when we see a female that seems like she's of age, if she's not, the average man is going to make sure and try to make sure before he lusts after her. He going to try to make sure that's a grown woman. That's what a man can relate to. So we all out here in this struggle, man, where as far as lust, man, we trying to be pure towards God first. Let's sum this all up. A man of God is, first of all, trying to be pure towards all humanity, including these grown women. Where I don't even lust after these grown women. That's the highest level of purity. You follow me? So I'm out here in the struggle where, as a man of God, where I'm trying not to look at these women walking around here in leggings and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Letting it all hang out. You know what I'm saying? We trying to be pure towards all humanity, not just children. That's for a man of God. Now, for other people, they succumb to what humanity does. But for me, you know, I'm trying to be pure towards all humanity. That's what the man of God does. He's pure towards all humanity, including these women. You know what I'm saying? Let alone children. You know, now when it comes to children, I, as a grown man, am trying to put my best foot forward to where, first, let's address this. Some of these children that look like women, okay, we trying to make sure I'm not acknowledging that person as a woman. That's a child, okay. But ain't no man down here gonna say, in America, especially where I lived in New York, where you thought a woman was a child was a woman, and you kind of looked at them from the back thinking that was a woman, and it wasn't. Every man done that in New York. Oh, that's a child. I didn't know. But your mind was pure towards children when you looked, so you still didn't violate. Okay? That's the real world we live in. Not this robotic, special needs nerd world where, ooh, he looked over there, he lost. Well, no, I didn't, because I still didn't think nothing towards a child. See, that's the real world we live in. Where us as men, we trying to put our best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? But do we make mistakes? A lot of men make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And God's grace is sufficient for any mistakes that a man makes. And you might not want to hear this, but God will forgive pedophiles, bro. See, that's what Jesus would be talking about. Jesus will be embracing the people that society hates. You understand? Not just the thugs and the killers and everybody, because that's celebrated. Jesus will be embracing the pedophiles, telling them that God can cleanse you, God can forgive you for lusting after these children and want to have sex with these children and having sex with these children. See, that's what society don't want to. See, that's how we know you ain't like Jesus, because see, Jesus gonna offer forgiveness to the pedophiles. Well, just because you have sex with a child don't mean you doomed to hell, buddy. That person still can be saved. But see, in society of America, you don't want that person to go to heaven. You don't want that person to even make it to heaven, because you go to the extreme of what they have done with a child, and Jesus ain't like that. And Jesus offers forgiveness for all sins, including having sex with a child. Okay? That's the God I serve. Now, you'll find many of these American Christians, they'll want you dead if they knew you did something with a child. That's how I feel. Many of them will want you dead, bro. So that's another higher level of Christianity, man. Some people they ain't built like that, because if you see that somebody done mess with children, you don't want nothing to do with them. And that's Christians. That's a lot of Christians in America. But the Spirit of Jesus would be ministering to the pedophiles. The Spirit of Jesus will forgive the pedophiles. The Spirit of Jesus will let that person go. So you think you're being like Jesus, but you're not. Because the Bible that I read, he always was defending people that everybody outcast, that everybody hated and wanted to kill. That's who Jesus was with. And he's the same today. He's the same, especially if they're trying to serve him. Especially if a pedophile trying to serve God. Listen, buddy, I'm sorry to tell you. God is going to be with that pedophile, buddy. You got to know the rules. God's going to be with the pedophile while you thought he was with you. Well, we protect the children. Well, that pedophile asked God for forgiveness. That pedophile deserves salvation just like everybody else. But you don't see it that way. And that's how we know you're really not like Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Because Jesus will be offering forgiveness of sins to everybody. You understand? That's the Spirit of Jesus. So you can't even talk Christianity to me if you on some okie doke goofy stuff. You know what I'm saying? If you on some okie doke goofy stuff, you can't even talk Christianity to me. Because I'm gonna tell you that Jesus will be loving these pedophiles and forgiving these pedophiles. See, that's something you can't do. If somebody touch a child, you can't forgive them. And so, see, that's your limitation. That's your hang up, because you know, in your value system here in America, you got children way up here above God. Some people worship children. You worship children when you put children before innocent people. If you put children before innocent people, you worship children, bro. You do. You worship children. You know, you might not have a banner and be waving the banner around, but if you, anything you put above innocent people is your God, including money. Some people hurt people for hurt innocent people for money. That means you worship money. Money is your God. Some people worship children, bro. When you put children before innocent people, think about what I'm saying. And you just saying you trying to test this person, see what this person at, they heart at. But then you do things excessively for children. You worship children, bro. So in this society in America, people worship children. How, to perfectly explain it how, it's because they go from one extreme to the other. And that's usually what's going to happen with idolatry, making something an idol. You're going to go from one extreme, right? You're going to go to extremes, safe to say. In this country, people go from one extreme of marrying children to doing all this crazy guerrilla warfare for children. And then you marrying children in 33 states of America. That's how we know definitely for sure that you worship children, because you put them above innocent people, you marry children, and you're out here doing guerrilla warfare for children. I don't worship children. I worship God. And I do not come anywhere near worshiping no children, because the mystery to me is we all were children. But look how we treat each other. I was a child myself at one point. But look how I'm treated. Look how we treat each other. We all were children. That's the mystery. It brings it down to reality. They're just humans, just like we are just humans. We were all children, and here we are. Okay? So, you know, that's how you put everything in proper perspective, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, just running around here like all the crazy and stuff. And God, Jesus will save the pedophiles, bro. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So see, that's how you know you ain't on the higher level of spirituality. You know what I'm saying? You ain't on the higher level of being like Jesus, because you should be saying something to that degree. Really. But if you just like, oh, we gonna condemn these pedophiles to hell, you know what I'm saying? That ain't Jesus. That ain't the spirit of Jesus. That's not the spirit of Jesus. But if these people out here gang stalking with witchcraft and all of that, that's a continuous spirit. That's not the same type of spirit you try to minister to. That's a spirit that's playing against God's people, bruh. You understand? And I can show you through the Bible, God's people going to war with people that are in continuous conflict, that basically want a war. If you want a war with God's people, God is not going to try to, at some point, if you are continuous, God is not going to try to just wait to try to evangelize you. He going to protect his people. So this is not the same similar situation with the pedophile, where you love the pedophile, where we love the witches and warlocks and these people that's playing games with us, because God is going to look at it as a war after X amount of time. After X amount of time, it's going to be classified as a war. Once it's classified as a war from the kingdom of God, it's over. This is guerrilla warfare, which y'all did against us. And you can say whatever you want. You can talk about God being with you, or, you know, you could be saved or whatever. But God is looking at this war has already been classified. It's already war. So imagine fighting God's people, then talking about, oh, well, we can be saved. It's arrogance, actually. Where you think you can play with us and then come out here and then think you can still be saved and play with us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, man, you know, it's back to people being goofy, man, and being corny, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, coming out here playing around God's people, then talking about, you know, some other people talking about they can be saved. They could be saved if they would have stopped. If they would have stopped playing with us. You know, I can't say what's going to happen. But I know one thing for sure is that the Bible says, what a man sows, that shall he reap. Whether you on their side or not, are you showing favoritism? So you got to make sure you ain't acting like this as teams and football teams. You got some people are corny, bro. Like, you on my side or they side, and people going back and forth, bro. Listen, you got to go with what is right and what is wrong. You got to look at what is right and what is wrong, and that's whose side you're on, those who are right. I am right. You ain't got no charges on me. You got to kick rocks, bro. You got to go play in traffic. You ain't got no charges on me. You ain't got nothing on me. Listen, buddy, I'm sorry to tell you, it's over. That's right. You ain't got no warrants on me. You ain't never had no charges where you can question me with children. You ain't got nothing you can go look at where I've been arrested for anything funny or sketchy about children. Not at all. You know what that makes me? Not perfect. It makes me normal. It makes me normal just like you. They ain't got no charges on you, do they? They ain't got nothing on you in the past where you was messing around children, or they ain't got none of that on you, right? Okay, so then you're a normal person. I'm a normal person. Do we got a squeaky clean past? No, we do not, but I'm a normal person. So you tried to play it like a corny cornball, like I was some Freddy Krueger character, and you played yourself, bro. That's all it is. That's what it is. You listen to my brother. He was corny too. He tried to play it like I'm some Freddy Krueger character, and he played himself. That's all it is. That's all it is to it, buddy. Ain't no other way to look at it. Y'all came out here like I was some horror character from some scary movie, and you played yourself, bro. Now you looking for somebody to blame. Now you looking for somebody to cast the blame on, and it ain't gonna be me, because I sat back and took all of this. So I'm definitely not gonna be the one that take the blame and take this situation. I can't be your scapegoat. I can't be your scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? You know, God gonna make sure I'm taken care of, bro. That's all I'm saying. With this guerrilla warfare, everything I said was necessary, because this is involved. All of this is involved. People talking about pedophiles and everything. Jesus will save the pedophile. That need to be said if that's the foundation of this guerrilla warfare. These people going crazy for children. Well, Jesus will save the pedophiles. That needs to be said. Especially from a man like me, and they know, you know, along the lines I'm gonna be talking about spirituality. So you put that with this whole situation where they talking about pedophiles. I'm gonna say Jesus will save the pedophiles, and no matter what they did to children, they're gonna be in heaven if they receive Jesus Christ. And see, some people don't like that. They don't even like the idea of that. They want you to burn in hell for what you did for children, what you did to children, and that ain't God though. Everybody got their pet peeve sins, you know what I'm saying? And some people think you should burn in hell for the stuff you done. You might not see it that way, but a lot of people do. Other people will see it that way. So, but here we are, man. Here we are. Because, like I said, man, I don't worship children. If you're one of these goofy, corny people out here that worship children, I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, I don't know how much farther you gonna get. I don't know how much further you gonna get worshiping children, buddy. Because when you worship children, when you put children above innocent people, you can't put children above innocent people. An innocent man, I can't come play with an innocent man about some children. Think about that. I can't play with no innocent man about no children. I ain't gonna do that. No, I'm not. See, I grew up, man. A lot of people listen, man, you think like a little kid, like you want to come out here and protect children or something, like some little girl or something, you want to protect children. Man, listen, bro. I think as a grown man, I ain't coming out here doing nothing to no innocent man about no children. Straight like that. Straight like that. Straight like that. Straight like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, this culture got a lot of goofy type of personalities and culture in it, bro. You know, this a country got a lot of goofy culture and a lot of goofy personalities. You know what I'm saying? And it's the truth, bro. You know what I'm saying? Some people been around real people from day one. Some people been around real ones from day one. And I know how real ones think, man. And they ain't gonna be feeling none of this. That's why I ain't got no problem with real ones. I got a problem with goofy people that got all these world views from different places and different situations and whatever, you know, and they ain't really interact with reality with those world views. And when they did, they realized what reality really is all about. Ain't nobody coming out here playing around no innocent person. They thought they'd be able to sick the community on me and just say I was a pedophile, and then, you know, and then the people would want to kill me. That's not reality, man. Reality is people gonna wait for charges. They gonna wait for evidence. They gonna wait for receipts. And if you ain't got no receipts, I'm sorry. You ain't gonna have the community backing you. If this person is minding his business and you actually see him with a grown woman, which this community has seen me with a grown woman, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know what world you live in. I don't know where you come from. Jupiter, somewhere over there. But here in the earth, man, if they see you with a grown woman more than one time and you living with the woman, everything like that, bro, whatever you did is over. You a man of God too on top of that? I'm sorry, bro. Now, if you're from Jupiter, you think you're going to make somebody suffer from what you heard. When you don't even I challenge the details on what people heard. That's what you got to do. Challenge the details. Okay, what's the details? No, we heard the subject matter. Understand the difference between subject matter and details of subject matter. Okay, what's the details? Because I know what I've done in my life, literally, and what I have not done. Okay, so I want to hear the details. So you let people like my brother Jedi mind trick you, and he didn't give you no details. He gave you the subject matter, and you filled in the details with the subject matter. I challenge the details. What's the details? Because when you go to court, they're going to say, okay, we heard the subject matter. Okay, so now we're breaking down the details. What actually took place? What is the physical description of what took place? That's what we want to hear here. And if we don't hear any physical descriptions of the subject matter, then we can't charge this person with the subject matter. That's how that works, buddy. You just got Jedi mind tricked and you didn't realize it. Where people fed you the subject matter without the details. You ain't what's the details? And then we challenge the details based on reality and human nature and humanity and age and human physique and human makeup. That's how it works. Okay? We challenge everything based on the details. We put it all together with humanity and all of that with the details. And if that pans out where that person is innocent, I'm sorry, bro. According to what you're trying to describe them as or define them as, I'm sorry. You lost. Ain't no way in the world you're going to define me as no pedophile, bro. I know what I like in my bedroom. I like a fully grown woman in my bedroom. Married. I haven't had sex in a whole year. Okay? And I feel good about that. Okay? Only time I'm having sex is if I'm married to a woman. Okay? So that's me. That's me. I define me. I don't play with goofy, corny people that try to define me for who I am. You understand what I'm saying? I don't let people do that. Okay? See, I've been around real ones from day one. You know what I'm saying? If you corny, you know what I'm saying, you just got around real ones. You came out here in the streets and you just got around real ones. Through this situation with me and playing with me, you just now got around real ones. And they gonna tell you the same thing I'm telling you. Ain't no way in the world we finna come out here about no children. And you ain't got no charges on this person. And you ain't got no smoking guns. You ain't got no other patterns of this person doing anything according to that nature and character. Because much as this person traveled, I'm talking about me, he would have been undone something out of character. He done been to New York, North Carolina, here, Florida, California. Nothing? Come on, bro. That's not, listen. Ain't nobody, think about what I'm saying. Ain't nobody gonna travel that much and then be in between the streets, halfway homeless, and you don't find them doing nothing. Because when you homeless, you idle, right? So a pedophile, when he idle, what he gonna do? He gonna go straight playing around children. So in between me being homeless all over the country, when I was idle, you don't see me do nothing? And that's what people gonna look at, buddy. That's what I'm saying. See, that's the real world we live in, bro. That's what I'm saying. So, that's all I talk about. That's all I talk about. I don't talk about possibilities and all this, you know what I'm saying? These endless possibilities. People is clowns, bro, and they don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? You got to show them. They thought it was you, but it's them. You know what I'm saying? I just sit back and let ignorance be bliss. Because I know what real is, and I know what fake is, and I know what corny people is. And maybe because they thought I was a Christian, maybe they thought I lost my mind, and I didn't know what a lame dude is. I still know what lames are. You know what I'm saying? I still know what corny people are. Whether they police, I don't care what they are. It's old lames too. Some of these police is lames too, bro. What makes you lame is your lack of principles, rules, and regulations on a certain subject. And on a certain subject of these children, these cops is lames, bro. You ain't got no rules and regulations that we respect. Okay, that's what make you lame. I can explain it intelligently. I don't throw out empty insults. I can really make you wear this. Unlike you can't make me wear nothing. You talking about I can make you wear it that you a lame, bruh. As police, you all out here with no rules and regulations in the real world we live in, according to humanity, according to a real man. You know what I'm saying? Well, this person ain't doing nothing to nobody. He ain't, you know what I'm saying? He ain't doing nothing sketchy or nothing like that. What real man gonna respect that? What's your position? Your position. What real man gonna respect your position? I'm talking about to the police. I'm talking to the police. Ain't no real man gonna respect your position. When you ain't got no smoking gun, you ain't got no receipts on this person, you ain't seen this person do nothing sketchy in any part of your society. Where you can say, oh, okay, at least we got some over here. At least we got some in 1993 or 2005. It's something. Where we can definitely say, okay, he do have some of this character right here with this charge right here. You can't even do that, bro. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying to you. So that's what make you lame, you police, you lames. You lames because of your lack of rules and regulations that real men have. Your lack of rules and regulations that real adults have for women that are the police or whatever. We don't respect you because of your lack of rules and regulations as real men and women. I don't have to mention the streets or thug life or whatever. I can show you real men and real women and they rules and regulations and put you down as a lame based off real men and women perspectives. And that's all we saying, buddy. You got the wrong guy, bro, because I'm gonna put you down as a lame. You understand me? So all this guerrilla warfare, man, listen, bro, God gonna take care of it. You understand me? God gonna take care of it. You know what I'm saying? God gonna take care of all of this stuff, man. God is good. God is good all the time. God finna take care of all of this, buddy. Y'all lames, man. These police that play with me, you authorities that play with me, you lames according to rules and regulations of real men and women. When somebody is minding their business, you know what I'm saying, and you still playing with them, you a lame. You a lame for that. When it's real people out here playing around these children. We don't respect you. What, because you got a badge? We don't respect you, bro. We don't got no respect for you. Those who did it. We don't respect you, bro. No. And that's why. I can show you why. It ain't because you ain't part of the streets or whatever. It's because of how you carry yourself, bro. The way you think, that goofy way you think, bro. That's what I'm saying, yeah. So, salute to God's true people, man. God gonna take care of us, man. We back on top, bro. Yo.